Hello, I am Kevin Donaldson, and I am an engineering intern out of the Butte branch at the moment, and this will be my presentation. So, basically, we started the summer with, we went onto a mapping system, and we found all of the emergency turnarounds, emergency crossovers, and high-tension cable rail and cable guard rail on every interstate in the entire state, marked them out, and transferred them into an Excel spreadsheet in order to expedite the process for someone that needs to know where they are in the future. We found the latitude, the longitude, the northings, the eastings, the elevation, the ellipsoid height, and yeah, found all the information that would need to be known on the point like that for someone that would need to use it in the future. And then about, I don't even know, 2 weeks after, 2 weeks-ish of doing that, I moved to a actual construction crew underneath Rick Sandoval as the EPM, and spent the majority of the time in Dillon. And in Dillon, there was the Montana Street project, the signs project, and the Barrett's project, and a bridge dig out on the south exit, and a chip seal for the whole length of the interstate from the first Dillon exit all the way to Barrett's, which was roughly 8 miles. But on the Montana Street job, we found temperatures of asphalt as they came out of the belly dumps and followed closely behind the paving machine. I ended up walking behind the paving machine for a good long while, and before that I was walking behind the milling machine, seeing how they changed the teeth on the machine, and really just trying to learn as much as I can in the time that I was allotted to be a construction intern. And in the Barrett's project, I assisted Grant Clark in finding densities on dirt that they were compacting, where they were ripping up the interstate. They tore it down, or I think they tore it out all the way to subgrade, and then filled it back up, and we had to check the densities a few different times, and compaction. I helped with a fence installation project on the exits as well, where they put in some new fences and cattle guards. And I spent most of that time with Tanya. Tanya and I sat there and made sure that the cattle guards were put in correctly along with the fences. And I guess that leaves us with the chip seal job that I did at the very end. So basically, like I said, from the first Dillon exit all the way to the Barrett's exit, roughly 8 miles. Actually, it was a bit past the Barrett's exit for the chip seal, but we watched all the oil get thrown onto the pavement after it had been brushed, and then the secondary truck come through and dump all the chips on it. And then the brushes came through again and sweeped it all off. And it was very interesting to see the oil coming out of those trucks. I found that process very fascinating. But then I wasn't able to see that project through to completion. I was brought back into the office before that was finished, but I was glad I was able to see some of that. On that project, I actually helped take some chip samples that I took back to the lab and helped out. I'm glad I was able to help out a bit there. And then did a couple surveys throughout the time. We spent, like I said, spent most of my time in Dillon, but we did a couple surveys here and there. Did some in Helena for new street lights that are going to be put in. and went all the way to West Yellowstone to do, we staked out a right-of-way and off of, oh goodness, the road from Dillon to Twin Bridges, off of that road, off of that highway, we had a job where we staked out the right-of-way on that job as well, where they're gonna basically redo that whole highway for a good section and maybe put in a bridge. And yeah, that was about the extent of the stuff that I did in the field. And then I'm back in the office now, have been for about 2 weeks. And they got us on Civil 3D designing street corners in Anaconda. It's going to be a mill and fill, but when you do a mill and fill, you have to go back through and change all the ramps to ADA, and that's what we're doing, changing all the ramps to ADA in Civil 3D, and then they'll follow our design and hopefully do it next year, is what I was hearing, but who knows, might be a little longer than that. And that's about the extent of what I've done this summer. And I gotta say, the very best parts are definitely the people that I've met. I've met some really good people that work at the state. Very good connections I've made, and overall just a great work environment. I've very much enjoyed everyone that I've got the chance to work with. And that's about all I got. Thank you all for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day.